This is a Tesla Roadster in space, and it's probably the greatest car ad in history. But it really shouldn't have happened.
Elon Musk has outdone himself this time.
It didn't come from an ad agency or a big media campaign. Those usually involve far more lawyers. It was a last-minute idea improvised by a man who seems to thrive in a state of perpetual controversy. And somehow, it worked. In 2018, Ford spent $2.4 billion in advertising. That same year, Tesla didn't spend a single penny, and yet there's not a single thing Ford did that year that's as memorable as this. This image went everywhere. Every major news outlet, every social feed, late night show, it became one of the most recognizable moments of the decade. But this video isn't really about rockets. It's about the tactic behind them. And this tactic used by Musk is what I want to focus on. Just that. Because I think there's something in there that we can all learn from. This is a look into how Musk turns attention into power. From picking fights for seemingly no reason, to making promises he can't keep again and again and again, to pulling off ridiculous stunts with dubious legality at best. Not because he's an idiot, but because it keeps his brand in the conversation. And the more you learn about this tactic, the more you start to see it, well, everywhere. From Apple to Burger King, brands have been using this one trick for decades. It's called earned media. Attention you don't buy, you engineer.
If you look at Elon Musk, the reason why he's one of the best earned media storytellers in the world is because he knows he's controversial.
We're here to understand how Musk and people like him are manipulating their way to billions. So how does that happen? How does Musk dominate the media, and more importantly, why does it work? And if you stick around until the end of the video, there's a breakdown of exactly how you can use the same tactic yourself. This is how Tesla built their brand. When you look back on Tesla, what's striking isn't how revolutionary they were, but rather that they exist at all. This is Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning, the original engineers who set out to change how people saw electric cars. Musk was technically a co-founder, but as an investor, not an engineer. To grossly oversimplify history here, EVs were slow, ugly, and kinda lame, and Tesla's goal was to prove that an electric car could be fast, premium, and, cool. It's safe to say they achieved that. But while their first car, the Roadster, was impressive with 244 miles of range and a 0 to 60 time under 4 seconds, they had a problem. No one really cared. The Roadster was simply too expensive for most people, and the EV market at the time barely existed. The team had a problem that a lot of good startup ideas do. The founders were very good at building things, but terrible at telling people why it should matter to them. Their startup was bleeding money, investors weren't happy, and in light of some internal controversy, the board agreed to push Eberhard out of his seat as CEO. So in 2008, with the company on the brink of collapse, Musk took over as chairman. Over time, Tesla became something else. Not just a car company, but a story about the future. And when you sell the future, marketing isn't about features, it's about belief. Now before we get into how Musk flipped the entire industry on its head, if you want more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe. I have more videos on the way, and would love for you to see what's next. So advertising at its best is not just getting your product in front of people. A great ad doesn't just sell product, it can redefine a brand, steal market share, and even influence culture. Some of the most iconic brands of history, they didn't just sell, they made people fall in love. But here's the problem. Most of the time, that's not what happens. When you're managing ad budgets bigger than the GDPs of some countries, well, you wind up playing it safe. So car ads tend to get predictable. After all, no one gets fired for an ad that looks like an ad, which is why SUVs climb mountains and sports cars zip through empty cities. Blur the logos and half of them could sue the other for identity theft. Most advertising is run on a paid distribution system. You see the product on the billboard on the drive to work, on the YouTube pre-roll when you're hiding in the office bathroom, and again as a banner when you're doom scrolling Reddit at 2 a.m. And next time you're at the store deciding between two nearly identical products, you'll likely pick the one you feel familiar with. Companies go this route because it's predictable and measurable, and because the keys to the advertising industry have been handed off to MBAs who wouldn't know a good idea if it bit them in the ass. The industry calls it reach and frequency. Reach is how many people see it, frequency is how many times they see it. And car ads are the perfect category for this, because no one impulse buys a car. Auto ads aren't designed to make you buy a car today, they're designed to make the brand feel familiar, so months or years down the line, it feels like the right decision. So car advertising became a volume game, with huge budgets to match. Now if you want this in the purest form, that's the Super Bowl. Look at this report I found. A 30-second ad buy at the 2025 Super Bowl cost $8 million. $8 million for 30 seconds of your time. Napkin math, that's $266,000 per second. No surprise, that's because the Super Bowl is the single largest media event in the United States, with a 2025 audience of 127 million viewers, and that's just the airtime. It doesn't include production costs, celebrity fees, or the ad agency bill. It's effective, but it isn't exactly cheap, which raises the obvious question: what do you do if you don't have $8 million to burn on Kevin Hart? That is where something called earned media comes in.
Earned media is making what traditional media used to be look prehistoric, something that belongs to the dinosaurs. Back in the day, a brand, a company would pay to be seen. They might release a car commercial, put an advert in a newspaper, the audience would read it, learn about the brand, the product, and then the brand makes money. But now you've got people like Elon Musk, who's almost entirely rejecting traditional media.
While traditional advertising media is all about paying for ad space to get in front of people, earned media is when people talk about your brand organically. It happens everywhere, from news articles to YouTube reactions to Reddit threads and Discord servers. And while the Super Bowl might reach 100 million people, you have to pay for those eyeballs. A Reddit post, on the other hand, can still reach millions and cost nothing. The hard part is, well, you have to do something worth talking about. But it isn't just cheaper than traditional advertising. Check out this research paper from the University of Hawaii. It basically says earned media feels more credible and is perceived as more authentic, more trustworthy than traditional advertising. And that kind of trust converts easier into purchase intention. Aside from Musk, there's a brand that practically built their whole business model on earned media, and that business is Red Bull. Doesn't just run ads. They create content that people actually want to watch. They basically turn extreme sports into a whole media operation. Look at this. They run something they call the Red Bull Content Pool. It's a self-serve media hub where newsrooms can pull rights-cleared photos and footage, optimized for digital, social news, and broadcast instantly, making it stupid easy for anyone who works in media to share everything that Red Bull is doing. It gets news coverage, gets clipped down, reposted, and shows up on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, and group chats. There's no ad interruption, just people sharing something they think is actually cool. And it's been incredibly successful at helping them build their brand affinity and the correlation people have between sports and the energy drink. And with this, the Stratos Skydive, we have actual numbers reported from Red Bull themselves. The jump hit 8 million people on livestream and logged 100 million views in just the first couple weeks. And it didn't just live on YouTube. Once it was out there, it kept growing, carried by hundreds of digital partners and picked up by TV outlets in over 50 countries. Today, Red Bull says Stratos has crossed over 1 million views on YouTube alone, even using the most conservative estimates that one stunt was worth 8 Super Bowls. One important caveat before we turn this into a Musk glaze fest: this works better for Musk than it would for almost anyone else because he already has gravity. He's rich, he's polarizing, he runs companies that people already care about, so yeah, people are more interested in talking about what he does than they would about me or you. But that doesn't mean you can't learn from him. And the way he does this exploits 3 specific vulnerabilities in how the modern media landscape works. 1, journalists are deadline driven and need fresh content daily. 2, algorithms reward engagement over accuracy. And 3, outrage and spectacle spread faster than nuance. Musk doesn't manipulate media through deception, he manipulates it through understanding modern incentives. He gives journalists exactly what they need: a story that writes itself. And if you analyze everything Musk does, you realize that he basically has 3 moves to pull from: conflict, promises, and spectacle. Conflict is, well, it's obviously controversial, but it gets everyone involved. The people who love him and the people who can't stand him. Either way, they share it. A perfect example is Tesla's 2020 feud with short sellers. Instead of treating this like some finance story, he turned it into a meme that the average person could engage with. By selling limited run shorts for $69.20, a direct jab at the people betting against the company, it was picked up by everyone from Reuters to High Snobriety. Every outlet has to explain the feud, explain short selling. Every story included photos of the cars, and Tesla got a full news cycle with millions of impressions without buying a single ad. Next, there's promises. What's great about this is, well, you don't even need a finished product. You just need a claim about the future. In 2016, Musk said that Tesla was targeting a coast-to-coast fully self-driving demo from LA to New York by the end of 2017. It didn't happen. Then in 2019, he told the world the system would be feature complete that year and ready to carry sleeping passengers by the end of 2020. Didn't happen. He would go on to make even bigger promises: a robotaxi network with 1 million self-driving Teslas on the road next year. And would you believe it? He managed to pull it off. The US now has millions of robotaxis taking people where they need to go every day, and oh wait, hold on, I read that wrong. It actually didn't happen. But what matters here is every promise becomes a story that the industry press can pick up, and even skeptical coverage still puts the brand in front of people. This is the exact tactic used by tech brands as a quick way to get into the news cycle. You constantly see this from Apple, Microsoft, and Meta. His third move is my favorite, because damn is it fun. When it works, it's amazing, and when it goes wrong, it's hilarious. It's spectacle. Here's one of my favorite examples. Musk founded the Boring Company in 2016. You know the one. Thing is, for 2 years, no one really cared. There wasn't any real coverage. To the average person, the Boring Company didn't exist. Then, Musk did what he does best. He announced they were selling 20,000 Boring Company branded flamethrowers. People lost their goddamn minds. This was ridiculous, crazy. Hell, it might not have even been legal. And you know what? It went viral as hell. The Boring Company became a household name overnight. Search traffic exploded. It dominated headlines. This was a story. They sold $10 million in flamethrowers. A few months later, the Boring Company landed a $48.7 million deal to build a Hyperloop in Las Vegas. Now, correlation does not equal causation, but before the flamethrowers, no one was talking about the Boring Company. After, they had brand recognition, momentum, and a direct line to investors and decision makers. Which brings us to... On February 6, 2018, millions of people tuned in to watch SpaceX attempt something historic. The most powerful rocket in the world, the Falcon Heavy, is about to launch for the first time. And inside is a Tesla Roadster with a mannequin named Starman behind the wheel. This wasn't just a test flight. It was the single greatest car ad ever made. It had 2.4 million live viewers on YouTube, and many more watched it after the fact. It got more views than CNN gets in prime time. Everyone was talking about it. Every news channel, every social media feed, every late night talk show, YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, whatever. It was covered in a dozen languages. Look, we all remember this. It was effective, and be honest, can you even remember a single car ad from the 2018 Super Bowl? Go ahead, really think about that. Me neither, and I make a living remembering this stuff. Now go ask literally anyone in your house if they remember which company launched a car to space. Really, go ahead. Yeah, it was Tesla. That kind of brand recognition is priceless. But a founder-led brand accelerates everything, including consequences. So what happened when he calls a diver who saved kids in Thailand a pedo, goes on a ketamine binge and holds the company stock hostage? What happens when he throws a Nazi salute on national television? Yeah, that can be a touch damaging to your brand image. Thanks to his choices, Tesla sales are now tanking, so maybe don't do that if you can manage. But more importantly, why does this work? Simply put, this stuff works because deep down, we love it. People want a story, and the media needs something to cover. More eyeballs means more ad impressions, means more revenue. No surprise, that's the same reason that YouTube spends so much time optimizing for watch hours. And if enough people see his brand and hear what he's doing, Tesla is going to be top of their mind when it comes time to purchase a new car. Musk is just really good at always giving the media something to cover, even if they don't necessarily like him. Hell, Adam Something has practically built his whole career off of this. Now, sure, chances are if you're a business owner, you probably don't have the budget to launch your product into space, but you can still learn something from how Tesla dominates the media, and you can probably do it without being an asshole if you try hard enough. Here's the framework I use when working with clients. 1. Is it visual? Can this be photographed or filmed in a way that makes people stop scrolling? 2. Is it shareable? Would someone send this in their group chat? 3. Is it an easy story? Is this easy for journalists to pick up and write about? 4. Does it ladder up? Does this stunt connect to what your brand actually sells? And that last one is crucial. Red Bull's space jump worked because extreme sports is their brand. And the Tesla Roadster in space worked because electric cars in space reinforces the future positioning that is Tesla's core message. A small gym sponsoring a local marathon is expected, and frankly, no one will care. But that gym instead giving free memberships to the last place finishers, that's a story that the local news at least can cover. That's a story that could get shared in the local Facebook groups. And by rewarding last place finishers, it proves the gym's proposition of helping people improve themselves. The brands that win don't just advertise, they entertain, they surprise, they disrupt. Because at the end of the day, regardless of country or culture or belief, we simply want to be entertained. So if you're trying to get some eyes on your brand, just ask yourself, would this make a good Reddit post? If it does, you're onto something. Just avoid the special K. If you like that, go ahead and subscribe. We have more videos on the way. Thanks for watching.